The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative. On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The other thing that we blocked yesterday was the SAVE Act, right? Which was literally allow this administration to rig our democracy so that it would be hard for any Democrat in any state to win any election.
Machines and integrity. Can you give us sort of a sneak peek about what to expect and tell the
Well,
audience?
I'd rather save it. It will concern that subject, and we'll have a couple of other things to
Why
say
should people
also.
watch them?
But I'd rather save it, but it's really big news. It's really, really big news. And our country has to shape up. But that's what we're going to be talking about Thursday is it doesn't get bigger, because without free and fair elections, you don't have a country. We'll be discussing other things too, but it's going to be a very big announcement. Yeah?
Everybody's waiting, and it could be a blockbuster depending on what it is. My friends, welcome to the Tuesday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, fastest hour in American media. I am James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley. It's going to be about the elections. We know that much. Now, there have been all kinds of things speculated, including intelligence briefings that show that something, and I don't want to get ahead of my skis here suggesting what it is, so we'll wait till Thursday. But I do guarantee this, no matter what it is, mainstream media Democrats are already writing their fact checks. Yeah, you look at me, they're already writing it. They're already writing how whatever he says, they've already figured out how to write the fact checks that he's wrong. And they'll have it printed within moments after he gets through speaking. And it doesn't matter. There's so much disinformation out here, especially from the mainstream media. Welcome, my friends, as I said, freshest hour in American media. A lot happening not only on the political scene, but also on the cultural scene. I want to start with cut 16. Carlos, please. Let's just play it because it's self-explanatory. So,
a word from New York City's Mayor Zohran Mamdani after a string of attacks on multiple churches. Silence is deafening from a socialist who never seems to hesitate to lecture New Yorkers about justice and intolerance. A man is federally charged with allegedly firebombing 2 houses of worship in Queens, and investigators have not ruled out arson in the fire that destroyed a 170-year-old Brooklyn church. That is such a heartbreak. They're still examining the evidence of possible foul play. But when churches are attacked or burned, City Hall should never go quiet. Condemning hate shouldn't be a question of politics, but this is what happens when progressive politics treat faith as an afterthought and religious institutions as something less worthy of public concern. Here to weigh in is Bruce Blake.
Brown made a post on X, which I saw. We've talked about Latina Brown before. Hey, Latina. And this is about that church that it was in New York City. Folks, and let's just listen to that. That's cut 15. Let's listen to a few moments of that, please.
The FDNY announcing this blaze that consumed the South Bushwick Reformed Church is being investigated as arson.
We have no known enemies.
Church pastor James E. Stewart says up until the fire, the congregation met weekly, a community staple. The church also acted as an event space and a food pantry. Wow. He adds he has no clue who would do something like this.
Now we understand that it is intentional, and so that, of course, brings another layer of grief.
The National Registered Landmark was built in 1863 and has stood tall on Bushwick Avenue ever since, acting as a beacon in the community. Archival photos show a church that watched the neighborhood grow around it. But that beacon became a target in late June, and the South Bushwick community is left heartbroken.
I think it's messed up because it's been here forever. My aunt got married in this church.
That's incredibly upsetting. I mean, if it was arson, that would be really just shocking and upsetting because, like Lee said, it's a historical landmark, and it means a lot to people.
While the goal is to rebuild...
You have in New York City, in Zohran Mamdani's New York City, we've had multiple church burnings now. Firebombing of churches in Queens and its sister borough, Brooklyn, New York, for those of you unfamiliar with the way the New York Five Boroughs run Brooklyn and Queens, two separate boroughs connected to Long Island, which is the whole peninsula. That is, it's what is happening in New York should raise attention. These are intentional acts. I guarantee you that if they were not churches that served, I guarantee you, if there were other houses of worship from other faiths, there would perhaps be a lot of intensity surrounding who and what is doing these acts. If, for instance, there was an attack going on in New York on the city's mosque, and you had multiple mosques being burned and firebombed, it would be national news. If there were synagogues being firebombed in New York like this, it would be national news. The fact that these churches in New York are suddenly under attack should be national news, and there should be attention paid as to what exactly is going on in New York City. Also in New York City, by the way, no audio for this. Under Mondami, there is now over a half a mile homeless encampment set up near the Intrepid. It's, for those of you that know the geography of New York City, it's on the west side of New York City. They are theft of electricity now. 34th Street, if you think about, 34th Street, Penn Station closed down above Two Penn Plaza for the big wedding that Carlos attended between, the football player and what's the girl's name?
Allegedly.
Help me here.
Allegedly. You can't say stuff like that on the air.
Oh, I'm sorry. The wedding that Carlos allegedly attended between who?
Some singer and some football player.
Some Taylor Swift and her guy. So if you think about that, that's on 6th Avenue. Yes, it is.
7th Ave, between 7th and 8th.
7th Avenue. Right, because it's a block away from the post office. 6th Avenue is Macy's. So if you go 7th Avenue, and then you cross the street, you're on 8th Avenue. The big post office used to be over there, one of the most gigantic post offices in the country, which now want to turn into the new Penn Station. If you go 4 blocks down, now you're in homeless encampment land. Same street, but this homeless encampment runs 12 blocks from 34th Street and 11th Avenue and 12th Avenue, and it just runs down near where the Intrepid Museum is. It has gotten so bad that now the unhoused, as liberals like to call them, are stealing electricity to electrify their homeless shanties. And this thing is this one encampment is over half a mile long. This is Mondami's New York. This is what Zoran Mondami, look at what is happening to New York. Report the other day about rents being sky high already, and he has put a squeeze on the real estate market with his plans to tax. This tax that he put on rental properties for the wealthy has slowed down that luxury market. In fact, there was only one sale recently, where many sales usually happen because people are just like, nope, I'm out of here. A news story the other day about how much wealth has fled New York to Florida. The prices are increasing in New York to live. All of this is happening in this socialist paradise that Mondami is creating. What you are seeing every week, and it will go unchronicled, but you can see the week-by-week degradation of life in New York under socialist Zoran Mondami. And what is the response from other Democrats? Bring on more of the same socialism and spread it around the country. Ari Fleischer was on with Sean the other day, cut 14. Former White House spokesperson Ari Fleischer, who I believe lives in the New York area. I think he's up in Westchester. And this is Ari Fleischer commenting on that socialism and the Democrat Party.
I've got news for the Democrats. They need to wake up and smell the coffee. The socialist arising in the United States is going to be the kiss of death for many Democrats throughout the country. They are not there to work with the Democrats. They are there to take over from the Democrats. And it's about time the Democrats stood up to the growing socialist movement and stood up for principles, Sean, like you just walked through, things they should object to, that once made them a great party that was competitive. This is terrible for the Democrats.
Indeed, it is terrible for the Democrats. But, you know, this is what Democrats wanted. This is what Democrats are getting. People that cannot afford to get out of New York, people that still want to have their home in New York. Life is going to become increasingly more difficult for so many people because these people, the Democrats, the socialists, the Democrat socialists, they're unrelenting. There's another quote that we're going to get to if we have time from the guy that's running for the Senate in Michigan, Abdul El Sayed. It's astounding what these guys are willing to say aloud, what they are not hiding anymore. Let us begin our first profit center. Allegedly. James Golden, Snerdley with you here, fastest hour in American media. Stay with us.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
My friends, if you are going to be near the beach this weekend, you might want to reconsider. Giant jellyfish have been found. I'm not kidding about this. These jellyfish have tentacles up to 120 feet. Can you imagine a creature? And imagine how big this jellyfish is. They are bigger than most human beings. But they have been spotted from Massachusetts, North Shore, up to Cape Cod and Nantucket. There once was a girl from Nantucket. Anyway, the creature's tentacles carry a large amount of neurotoxins that cause incredibly harsh pain. And that pain can keep escalating once they get you for over an hour. You get welts, itching, muscle cramps, headaches, nausea. Right now in Beverly, Massachusetts, warnings have gone up. Keep children and pets away from the stranded jellyfish. Do not touch them. Not even their detached tentacles, even if they appear to be deaded. Because even when they're deaded, they're still alive-ed. Even when they're deaded, 25 days after they are deaded, their tentacles can still sting people and release that toxin. There are swarms. They're called the Maine jellyfish, M-A-N-E. There have been swarms reported along New England coastline. Beachgoers, there are thousands of these things now showing up. They are among the largest jellyfish on Earth. Again, some of them have tentacles well over 100 feet. Some have been reported with tentacles. Can you imagine that? Tentacles, 120 feet. So, stay away. Be careful if you're headed to the beaches. You don't have to just worry about the sharks. You got to worry about the jellyfish if you're up in the oceans up there in the Northeast. Pretty gruesome stuff, my friends. Now, when we return from our next Profit Center, we're going to delve into some things that happened in Congress. There was a big, big hearing today in Congress. We have a few bites from it. And it was a hearing concerning the DEI and the fate of DEI. Also, there have been multiple reports about ICE. Some group calling themselves the Physicians for Human Rights, that'll give you the hint, and the Human Rights Center at the University of California, Berkeley, have released some report. ICE is terrible. They've been mean to protesters 412 times in just 1 year. James Golden is Snerdley with you here. Fastest hour in American media continues. Whatever you do, stay right here with us.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Diverse workforce and admissions to medical schools creates a better system for this country.
Thank you for that answer. And it does beg the question, do Republicans want black patients to die? Do we want women to die? Do we want trans kids to die? Because we know that a cultural competent education, that cultural competency and diversity in our education system, our medical system saves lives.
Do Republicans want black people to die? Do they want women to die? Do they want trans kids to die? Do they want them to die? That was Summerlee you heard before. Do Republicans want people to die? Because of what Democrats do with this state-sponsored DEI, state-sponsored prejudice, bigotry that's okayed by the state, preference systems, because your skin color happens to be, you happen to have the right skin color, so you can get a boost. She went on to talk about what the history is of black people in medicine in America. Now, Brandon Gill also had a few remarks, and as part of this whole diversity hearing, Ayanna Pressley also chimed in that she wanted the Equal Rights Amendment. Let's listen to that. Cut 8, please. That is, Ayanna Pressley chimes in, and this is what it sounds like.
And that is why I've introduced legislation to add the Equal Rights Amendment as the 28th Amendment, enshrining it as the law of this land.
I'd be happy to look at your Equal Rights Amendment
Brandon Gill.
and read through it. I guess my biggest question was, does it define what a woman is?
Crickets.
We'll take a look at it. I just was hoping for some analytical clarity, but thank you. We'll take a look at it.
Funny, she wants the Equal Rights Amendment. Brandon Gill just said, hey, does it define what a woman is? And you heard the gap there, the crickets for a few seconds before she could come up with a retort to that. Now, Brandon Gill, Texas, also had this to say, cut 9 when his turn came up. He was chairing the committee.
Meanwhile, DEI policies embody racist and stereotypical attitudes harbored by the left towards groups that these policies purport to benefit. Do Democrats believe that these people, that people would categorize as diverse, do not possess the skills to succeed in our society without quotas or preferential treatment? Apparently, yes. We know this because the mask slips, and they admit this explicitly. New York Governor and Democrat Kathy Hochul patronizingly claimed in 2024 that, quote, black kids growing up in the Bronx don't even know what the word computer is, end quote. I guess if you believe that nonsense, DEI makes a lot more sense.
And we will never forget that, ladies and gentlemen. We happen to have it. This is what Kathy Hochul said back just 2 years ago.
Young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And I want the world open up to all of them, because when you have their diverse voices innovating solutions through technology, then you're really addressing society's broader challenges.
Yep, we should never forget that. We should never forget that New York's governor believes that black children are too stupid, too dumb, too ignorant, especially if they're from the Bronx. AOC shares part of that. The black kids in the Bronx are too stupid to know what computers are. They never heard of the word computer. They're so primitive and so dumb that black kids don't know what a computer is, even though they walk around with computers in their pockets all day, dialing and connecting with their friends on them, social media, even though they are so technically gifted that they can know how to get around on an iPad. But no. Them black ones, they don't know. They're too dumb up in the Bronx to know what a computer is. New York's governor, which is why they say you need DEI. Now, I mentioned Representative Summer Lee went through the history of black folks in her supporting DEI, the history of black people in America. This is what it cut 12. This is what Representative Summer Lee at this hearing, this DEI hearing today, had to say. We played 12. Oh, wrong one. I meant 13.
Let me just say, I have a black doctor, and I sought my black doctor out. In fact, black doctors are in high demand because black patients know that culturally competent care can be the difference between care and cure or life and death. That's just what it is. Just really quickly, I don't know if some of my colleagues know some of the history of black care and mistreatment in the medical field. But, for instance, gynecology procedures were developed from unanesthetized, non-consensual experiments performed on enslaved black women. Life-saving vaccines were developed using stolen cells from Henrietta Lacks, a non-consenting black woman. Modern health care was built using black bodies without our consent. And when there is even the mere suggestion that we should invest in cures for diseases disproportionately affecting black people or that there aren't enough black doctors, Republicans cry DEI and say it's unfair. They say we should only rely on so-called objective standards for medical competence. But objective according to who? You cannot standardize test your way into empathy or taking people's pain seriously or cultural competency. MCAT scores don't translate to better care for black people automatically. Having all white male doctors is just as bad for the medical profession as having all white male congressmen is to our government.
I don't know anybody that advocates that the nation should have all white male. Always white males are the problem. I don't know anybody that advocates that all white male doctors are what America needs. If you go to the doctor, in fact, lately, depending on where you go, you might not be dealing with an American doctor at all. You might be dealing with someone that comes here and has immigrated here from any number of nations. Depending on where you go to the doctor. So, I mean, and thank you for the part of it, but there's this new phrase she keeps repeating. Cultural competency care. Culturally competent care. Democrats always come up with so I didn't say it. They always come up with they always come up with some bullshit. They always do this. They start inventing terms, and then if you don't use it, remember when we used to just say to homeless people, well, you know, the unhoused, they're now living for a half a mile down on the west side of New York. They're unhoused, and they're electorally challenged. What do you mean by they're stealing electricity? There's Kevin coming here because he thinks I said a bad word. Kevin, I didn't curse. I didn't use that word. We were talking about culturally. Kevin, do you know what culturally competent care is? Have you ever heard of it? That's because you're white. And you have not heard of culturally. Do you want all white male doctors in America, Kevin?
No.
Well, neither does Summer Lee. And she says you are culturally competent care is not being given. And Republicans want black patients to die. Did you know that?
First I'm hearing of it.
Yeah, well, first I'm hearing of it either. By the way, can we send somebody out, Kevin, down to 12th Avenue and get pictures of that homeless encampment that runs about 2 miles long on the west side on Mondami's beautiful New York?
Carlos, get down there, all right?
Thank you. All right, let's return to the Democrats. We have more from this hearing, but let's go to now Abdul El-Sayed, who is in Michigan running for the United States Senate. Cut 6. This is Mr. Abdul El-Sayed, ladies and gentlemen.
Do police really need to use guns?
What?
Do we need as much of a police force? And so if we ask ourselves about how we spend money in the public, where that money goes, where it comes from, we need to make a lot better decisions about investing in the things that root out poverty rather than investing in policing poverty. What? And we need to understand that these are racialized questions because of systemic racism. When we make a choice to invest in policing in a majority black community rather than to invest in public schools, that choice is influenced by systemic racism. And so we need to take that on, we need to root it out, and we need to be investing in people in the communities in which they live, learn, work, pray, and play, rather than be investing in policing them in those communities.
See, this is what I mean by Democrats.
And when we talk about the question of
SHI, you know what? So this guy makes it. So do police really need guns? Do police really need guns? I mean, what police? Why are we sending police to police neighborhoods that are poor instead of investing in poor neighborhoods? Why are we sending the police to police poor neighborhoods? And do they really need guns? I mean, we have a choice, ladies and gentlemen. We can invest in the police, or we can have public schools. And people listen to this crap, and the reporter, whoever doing this interview, did not interject. Excuse me. We have both. We have public schools that are failing because Democrats run them, and we have poverty neighborhoods that are failing because Democrats run those too. And we have the police. They're not all mutually exclusive. But nobody interrupts this drivel to actually say, you're making no sense. Now, let's go back to his opening question and just take a brief poll among the staff. Raise your hands if you believe that police need guns.
What type of guns?
Any type of gun. A pea shooter, a gun, a BB gun, a rifle, an AR-15, a gun. Everybody here thinks the police need guns. The guy that's running for the Senate in Michigan doesn't think that police need guns. Instead, we need more government programs in especially black neighborhoods, where, by the way, you will find the highest homicide rates in the nation. Because black young men kill other black young men at record numbers that no other community would put up with. But we're not allowed to talk about that because it's racist to look at the numbers of black men killing other black men in epidemic numbers, but we can't say. And so you get this clown, excuse me, I don't mean to call him name, this person running for the Senate who says, well, the police don't need guns. What we need to do, we need to invest in these neighborhoods. Folks, let's go to a break. I can't. When we come back, we're coming back with the clip of the day. James Golden, Snerdley, clip of the day coming up. Don't go away. The police don't need guns.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative. On the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative. On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
My friends, clip of the day time, but we had a runner-up, and you've got to hear the runner-up too. A person left, a trans human being left the United States because they thought United States was just not the place to live under the current administration. So they settled in the Netherlands. This runner-up clip of the day is from that person that settled in the Netherlands.
Between here and there is a bunch of Algerians and Moroccans or whoever who think that queer people should be beaten. I think that this system where you have people just living out here that are unhappy is not good.
Yeah. And do you think it's safe here?
No, I don't do things here.
Oh, it's scary. It's legitimately scary. I decided that my mental health is degrading so substantially being here that I just need to get out. And the situation that I have in the U.S. as a trans person, not good, right? But here I will be hurt or killed.
So, I guess coming back to that, by the way, he identifies as a trans woman, headed back to the United States after leaving the United States for Netherlands. Now,
the clip of the day. You want to hear it. It's the clip of the day.
This is the number one clip of the day. We turn to social media for our clip of the day. A black woman just leaving the store, and this is what she had to say on her way out.
So I'm at the gas station, no biggie, right? So I just had my first interaction with a red hat, right? A red hat. So I'm going in there. I want to get me a little brownie or something before I start my shift. And he held the door open for me. And I was like, oh, thank you. And he was like, no problem, sweetie. It's like, you guys are actually nice. Like, I thought you hated us. Like, you're nice people? You actually believe in chivalry? Well, you look at that, huh? I guess it's not all of them. All right, then. See, I don't even know how to, act, because I was expecting, a hostile situation. Okay.
He had on a red hat. Don't y'all hate us? Where do people get this from? I'll tell you where they get it from. You know where they get it from, ladies and gentlemen. They get it from the mainstream media and the Democrat Party. That's where they get it from. I had my first interaction with a red hat. You mean he's actually a nice person? Ladies and gentlemen, on this day in 2015, the Las Vegas coroner's office confirmed that blues legend B.B. King passed away of natural causes wasn't a conspiracy theory like two of his daughters had alleged. Another conspiracy down the drain. May God bless, protect each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude, my friends, for being here with me, allowing me to be with you. God willing, we're back tomorrow. Until then, my friends, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?